Last chance for the Lions to get some prep in before the first test. They are facing the Aussie and Kiwi International 15 this weekend, folks. The squads have been named. We'll go through them, talk about all the chat about whether this is like a Barbars style game or whether it's going to be something a little bit more serious than that, for want of a better word. You guys can let us know your thoughts on how this one is going to go. Aussie and Kiwi International 15, coached by Les Kiss, the Reds coach, and there's a big Reds connection with the squad, and assisted by Ian Foster and some other pretty high-profile coaches. They've not had a heck of a lot of time together, 3.5 training sessions. So not that much prep time, but as Les Kiss said, since the time these guys got together, they have been able to focus on the one goal of this game, basically for the entire week, whereas the Lions, they may have had a lot more time together, but they've got so many games back to back to back that they don't maybe get as much of a straight prep for one game in particular. So I'm not going to say that's an advantage to the Aussie and Kiwi team, but it is certainly just a different style of prep. And apologies, I've not prepared a one-off magnet for this game. It's a pretty strong-looking team, though, and a number of these guys are full internationals. Many of them are kind of like 1, 2, 5, 10 cap internationals. A lot of these guys are on the fringes of the All Blacks and the Wallabies, either having just been recently dropped or, played for them in the past and lost their spot in the pick order and whatnot. So Les Kiss also did mention that not only is this game a chance for, once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to represent a combined Australia-New Zealand team, but also it's a chance for some of these guys to use it as a stepping stone to get themselves back in the mix. So they're distancing themselves from the kind of Barbars feeling about this game. Aiden Ross, Painga Moso, and Jeff Tumunga-Allen. It's an all-international front row, not the highest capped all-international front row, but still all capped. Likewise, Salakai Loto and Angus Blythe. It's a nice looking lock and duo. Blythe's a big unit. He's 2+ meters tall. Salakai Loto, as I said, with a bunch of these guys have already played the Lions, and Salakai Loto is the Aussie co-captain for this one. They're named co-captains with an Aussie and a Kiwi, a forward and a back. And that seems to work, I suppose. Shannon Frizzell, haven't seen him playing for a wee while because he's been playing his trade over in Japan. But he's going to be certainly big on the ball carrier at number 6. Pete Samu, who had a cracking campaign with Bordeaux this year in the top 14, made it all the way to the final, won himself a Champions Cup, is there at 7. And then Hoskins Satutu, another guy who finds himself on the outer. He had a pretty good season for the Blues, and the season before that was the Super Rugby Player of the Year. His ball carrying game and passing game, offloading and whatnot, is certainly going to cause problems if they can get him some ball. The only thing about the forward pack is there's not really like an out-and-out fetcher amongst that lot. And like we saw, like Charlie Gamble for the Waratahs put a heap of pressure on the Lions at the breakdown. You feel like they might use a guy like that. But Pete Samu is a bit more of that jack of all trades. Like he can do it, but it's just not like his specialist thing. Folau Pakatava and Tane Edmed, 19 combo that I don't think's ever played together before. But as I said, both in that bracket of having a cap or two each at international level. So we'll certainly benefit from this experience as they try to push both their national teams' head coaches for more opportunities. And then Havili and Laumape is a pretty exciting 12-13 combo. I haven't seen Laumape play for ages. I know basically in New Zealand he was exclusively a 12. But over in France and over in Japan, he's been playing a fair bit of 13, so I'm keen to see how he goes. What a blockbusting ball carrier that guy is. I feel like he was a bit of a wasted talent over here in New Zealand. They never got the best out of him. And Havili has recently found himself on the outer of Razor's plans with the ABs. So it's a good chance for Havili to prove that at this highest level he can make that step up. He is the other co-captain. He's the Kiwi co-captain, and he's the backs kind of co-captain for this one. Marika Korombede, another guy will be putting his hand up. He was a regular for the Wallabies for quite some time, even when he was playing his trade in Japan. But with Joe's focus to largely go on the locally based guys, he's found himself on the outer, so a chance for him to impress too. AJ Lamb's had a good season for the Blues, and Sean Stevenson, he's off to Japan, so his All Blacks career is done, but dude's got a big old boot on him and is a proper attacking-minded 15, so there's some proper excitement in the Invitational 15, I would say. The bench is a little bit less deep on experience. Fewer kind of full internationals there. Eklund, Fusitua, and Dyer all had pretty solid Super Rugby seasons. Matt Phillip is a former Wallaby international for sure in the locks. Joe Bryles had a hard work rate season for the Reds, and he's played the Lions already this campaign. Kalani Thomas, Harry McLaughlin-Phillips, and Jock Campbell round out those kind of Reds players that Les Kiss will be all too familiar with. But yeah, he talked about not wanting to kind of complicate things too much given the limited prep time. Did Les Kiss just short prep, simple structures. Talked about the players having their own ambitions, and yeah, basically footy is footy, wanting to let them play. For the British and Irish Lions, it's a bunch of changes from the team which played the Brumbies on Wednesday. I'm still scratching my head as to which guys are locked in. Like Pierre Schoeman, Luke Cowan-Dickie, and Will Stewart, that's your front row. Stewart's up from the bench. The other two, Schoeman and Cowan-Dickie, are into the 23, having not featured against the Brumbies. I feel like he's going to go Sheehan and Kelleher. Kelleher seems almost locked in to be that bench role, but I could be mistaken. That's just where my gut is at. James Ryan and Tyke Byrne, that's the kind of all-Irish lock-and duo. He's had so many different lock-and combinations this Lions tour. He's tried Itoje and Byrne. He's had the Irish guys together. He's had McCarthy in there as well. He's had Chesum and Itoje together. So he's had a lot of different lock-and combinations. Obviously, it's going to be Itoje and somebody else. And Byrne is captain for this one as well. Byrne's also featured on one game, I think, at number 6. So it is it's a very curious one. The back row, he's spoiled for choice. Pollock's at 6, Jack Morgan's at 7, and Ben Earl is at 8. I'm not sure what the pecking order is with the back rowers as well. Jack Morgan, the one Welshman, is certainly putting his hand up when he has been getting an opportunity, but if there's one area of the Lions squad is not lacking for a bit of depth, it is the back row. Ben White's going to get a crack alongside Finn Russell, 9 and 10. Ben White, I feel like, is the third choice halfback. Alex Mitchell seems to be a lock on for the bench role because he's featured many times for the Lions this campaign. As the bench guy, you need to give Ben White a crack if you're going to call him into the squad. This is maybe the game to do it, and James at Gibson Park seems to be a lock on with Finn Russell. For the 19 combo, Tuipulotu and Hugh Jones, the Hugh Pilotu combo in the midfield. The midfield I still feel like is incredibly competitive. Jones and Ringrose are both going hammer and tongs at it. Farrell's got a hard decision to make there. Van der Merwe and Hansen on the wings, and then Keenan there at fullback. Fullback seems to be a little bit of the cursed position at the moment. Fingers crossed Keenan gets through this one all right. I say that because the likes of Kinghorn and Daly and whatnot got injured when playing fullback. Kelleher, Porter and Belam, that's the all-Irish front row replacement. Scott Cummings is there. I feel like Cummings is also probably one of the guys who misses out come test week, but could be wrong. Josh van der Fleer, Alex Mitchell, Marcus Smith, and Owen Farrell. Owen Farrell's return to the Lions was a little bit contentious. I do feel like he's on the outer as well in terms of spots in the pecking order, but he's here on the bench, so he's not called up to not get a game. We'll see how he goes from the bench. Smith, I feel like if he's going to play, it probably plays from the bench as well with the versatility to cover 10 and 15. For the focuses for the Lions this week, I mean, they've won 4 of their 4 games against the Super Rugby sides. They did lose against Argentina coming down to Australia. This is going to be a tough team in terms of the talent, especially in the starting 15, but they will lack the cohesion that, like the Super Rugby sides, may have not had the same talent level, but those guys have had a full season together. So it should be a similar but different challenge, if you know what I mean. Last challenge before the test, as I mentioned, chance for some guys to impress. You feel like the line-out, they've been getting creative with it, and it's been getting results in the last game or two. There's been a little bit of talk about how they'll go at the breakdown. But as I said, the Aussie and Kiwi team doesn't maybe have the same threats as some of the other teams in terms of specialist turnover merchants. But the scrum's been looking strong. They've still been coughing up a little bit too much ball and conceding a few too many penalties. So if the Lions can get the penalty count down, continue the strong scrum, continue to win their own line-out ball, and just look that little bit sharper with some of the combinations, I think Andy Farrell will be pretty happy. It is on at Adelaide, which is not like a traditional rugby powerhouse state. It is very much an AFL state, but hopefully the crowd are in for a treat for this one. It's an 8 o'clock kickoff locally. Italian Andrea Piatti is the ref. I think it's 10 p.m. for me here in New Zealand, but I feel like a lot of Kiwis, if they are going to tune into some Lions Tour games, this will be one of interest for them with so many former All Blacks on display. But they are predicted to be the underdogs. The Lions are 12-point favourites, so pretty similar to some of the other predictions in terms of what the bookies have got for this one. If you want to get yourself Lions gear, All Blacks gear, Wallabies gear, AUNZ Invitational once in a lifetime jersey. Check the links out down in the description. Got the Wallaby store, the Lions store, the All Black store. They've all got plenty of good gear on. The Invitational team's jersey is on sale with the Wallabies shop. So if you want to get your hands on that unique one, as I said, link down in the description. That's it. You guys let us know your thoughts on how this one is going to go, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.